G'day folks, today I've come yabbying. The weather's just warming up, the water's just warming up, there's a lot more activity around and I think the yabbies just might be starting to move around. So I've come out to this dam on private property. I'm just going to see how I go. See all these red gum trees and saplings? I'm in a bit of a flat ground here, a bit of a red gum flat. Even though the water's really dirty, I am expecting to catch yabbies that are much blacker than usual. Usually in these lowland areas, river flats, just swampy areas, you get the big black yabbies. Once you move up higher ground, where you get the sandy coloured water, not much trees around the dam, then you get the little sandy coloured yabbies. But in here, I'm expecting to get nice dark yabbies, if I'm lucky. I've never been here before, this is the first time. But anyway, I'm using drop nets. Let me run through a couple of things with you. This is a basic drop net. The only modification I've made is I've added a bit of string so I can throw it out a bit further. If you have a look at that, you'll see it's got two hoops. The idea is for the top hoop to sit flat over the bottom hoop. The yabby walks in, eats the meat. When I pick it up, it pulls up tight like that and the yabby can't get out. Very, very effective, and they work very well. And that is straight out of the shop. The other one that I've got here, it's the same, exactly the same sort of net. I bought it at the same shop at the same time, but what I've done, I've removed the bottom hoop and I've tied a knot in the mesh, making it a much shallower net. This is better if you have to throw the net out at distance from the bank. If I throw that out, unless I land it upside down, it's always going to land like that. The two hoop model like that has to be lowered. You can't throw it out. Well, you can, the front hoop has to fall and the top hoop has to fall on top of it, and that doesn't always work properly and they're more prone to tangling, and sometimes the bait can actually end up outside the net. So if you're off the bank and you need to throw the net out further, try doing this. Remove the bottom hook and tie like a little ponytail, just so you've got a much shallower net. And when you pull it in, you just have to make sure you pull it in with a fair bit of speed, that way the yabbies can't get out. I'm going to go and put these in now. If you look at this spot here, which I've chosen, you can see there's a bit of muddy bank. I need to throw the net a bit further out. So I've gone for this one, the shallower one, which I know I can throw out without it tangling. Ready? That landed upside down. That's never going to work. Perfect. As I said, provided the net doesn't land upside down like it did the first time, it'll be right. The second time it landed upright, there's no possible way that bait can end up outside that net. So I'm happy with the way that is. Now I'll put the two hoop net in. Now it's time to put the two hoop net in. This net, I've got about, I don't know, maybe 80 or 90 centimetres extra string on it, so I can throw it out a bit further. But remember what I said about the two hoops. Quite often they can get tangled. It's easier to throw a single hoop net out. There is one way to overcome this. Find a nice long stick with a bit of a fork in the end. Try not to pick up a snake while you're doing this. I saw a big brown snake on the road on the way in before, so they're certainly out. That allows me to lower it down nice and flat. I don't have to use that stick to check that net. I may or may not, but it's always good to use the stick when you lower it to ensure it sits nice and flat. I put 3 other nets in before these two, so I won't go and check them now. I'm hoping to get a feed of yabbies today. I'm not greedy. I don't want to take home 200 yabbies. I don't want any little half-assed yabbies 3 inches long. I want, you know, 12, 15, 20 good sized yabbies to take home and get a good feed out of. The bigger the better. The small fishing size yabbies and everything, if I get any of them, I'll throw them back because I don't need them. I'll come back over here when I do need them. We're off to check some nets. Some wonderful, hopefully yabby filled nets. Oops. Got on a tussock. Let's see how we go. Where do I put them? Here's one here. Nothing in that one. Nothing in that one. This isn't looking very good. I've just checked the first 3 nets and caught nothing. If this continues, I will be going somewhere else. Righto, it's been 15 minutes since I checked them last. I'm going to check them again. So probably, by the time I got to the end one, it's probably been closer to 20 minutes these nets have been in. If I pull all 5 nets out now and there's no yabbies, that's it. I'll pull the plug and I'll go somewhere else. Because that means there's probably not a lot in this dam, either that or they're not active. There is life in this dam. I can see little minnows and stuff just splashing around, so there certainly is life in here. So I've got no doubt there are yabbies in here. Maybe it's not warm enough. Trees like this, dams like this with trees all around them, tend to get a lot more shade on the water like this, which keeps the water a bit cooler. So maybe perhaps the water's still too cool in this dam. Wherever I go after, well, provided I catch no yabbies now, wherever I go next, I'm going to be looking for a dam that's a lot more open and has the sun on the water a lot more, and I'll try that, because that may just be the key. It could be just that it's too early, although I would have thought I'd catch something. So anyhow, let's see how we go. It's not looking good, folks. I think I might just leave these out as I go so that I can get moving quicker. I normally take them out, I pile them up on top of each other, leave the bait inside them, set them in the back of my car, then go to another spot. None again. That net was a little bit tangled when I pulled out there. That's the 2 hoop net. I threw it in without a stick and it got slightly tangled. But I can tell by looking at that meat, nothing's been at that meat. There's no claw marks in it. Just a little bit disappointing. Oh, look out. I've hit the jackpot. 3 great big ones. I wanted big ones. I might have to put the nets back in. Look at that. They're the big ones that I'm after. Have a look at them. But that's what I came here for. I want great big ones. I want 12 or 15, maybe 20 odd. A dozen, dozen and a half. And there's 2 of them, or 3. There's one down there that I haven't got in my hand yet. Now look at that. There's 3 really nice yabbies. And if one of them happens to grab my finger, you will hear me squeal from Darwin. I'm not joking. Then I've caught bigger, but they are certainly good eating size yabbies. I think I'm going to put this net back in now, and the 3 I've already taken out can go back in too. That's what I came for. Well, I'm happy with that. All up I've had 8 lifts. I've lifted 8 nets up, all up, or 5 nets a couple of times each. And I've caught 3 yabbies and they all come out of the 1 net. So what I'm going to do is put this in. And the ones that were in that shady corner down there can now go up here into the sunny corner, and we'll persevere a bit longer. Sometimes that's all it takes, just to keep things fresh. For obvious reasons, I'm going to put this net back in exactly the same spot. There you have it, 5 nets, 3 yabbies, all out of the 1 net. I'll go and put them in for a while now. I'll go around them again. If I still pick up 1 or 2 like that, I'll persevere. If I don't catch any more, I'm still going to move. And I might go and have a bite to eat. Just give me my hands a wipe. I always carry a rag around with me because you're handling dirty water and meat and stuff. So it's good to have a rag out of your back pocket. You'll never guess where I got this rag from. Look at that. Hey, it's talking to me. Said it's homesick. See if I can help it out. There you go, folks. I'm going to put them other couple of nets in and I'll go and have a bite to eat. Here's one of my yabbies, one of my 3 yabbies. Not huge, but it's not a bad eating size. A dozen or so of them will give you a good feed. He's got one claw smaller than the other. What that tells me is he's obviously been in battle, most likely with another yabby. They seem to do that. I always, every single time, turn the tail up like that and just make sure there's no eggs underneath. Usually when they've got eggs they'll fold their tail over when they're caught. You open it up and it just looks like a big row of caviar. But he's a good clean yabby, so I'm going to put him in the water. When you store yabbies, it's no secret that you only want a little bit of water just to go over their head. But while I'm actually in the field, I like to put quite a bit of water in the bucket. And then I just go and get a heap of grass, like I've just done, and I put that in there with them. Those yabbies will tunnel into that grass and keep out of each other's way. And it reduces the amount of dead yabbies you end up with in your bucket at the end of the day. With that little bit of water and all that green grass, I'll easily get 10 or a dozen nice yabbies in there if I can catch 10 or a dozen. Try and avoid using green gum leaves though, or any sort of gum leaves, because they tend to release tannins into the water and it's not always conducive to good health for the yabbies. Just a bit of grass. Dry grass is probably the best, but it's only just gone October, so everything's still pretty green. Bit of grass, bit of water, and your yabbies will love you forever. And most importantly, even on a day like today where it's not real hot, sit them in the shade. I'm about to move these into the shade now. It's been about a quarter of an hour since that bonanza of a pull and I've got all 3 yabbies in one go. Let's see if this net has any more yabbies in it. Turn it on again. Oh, there was a great big one right on the edge of the net and he flicked off into the water. I reckon if I'd given that about an extra 1 or 2 minutes, I would have caught that yabby. I'll put the net back in. Just as I was pulling that out, he was right on the edge of the metal and he just flipped outwards instead of inwards. It's a great sign. It's an encouraging sign. Let's see if the next 4 nets let us down again. Oh, yeah. One more. Look at that. Not a huge yabby, but not a bad eater. Because this is one of those single hoop nets, I'll be able to throw it out while I hold the yabby. So I've now got 4 in the bucket. I'll go and get my bucket. I might carry it with me. Things are starting to heat up. Kind of. There's 2 more. Because I'm not getting very many, I'll keep this one for a feed. Ideally I'd nearly throw him back. He's just on the, is he a bit too small? Is he big enough? There's no minimum limit. He'll go in the bucket. I've now got 5 in the bucket. This one, look. Eggs. Always check under their tail. See the eggs under there? And she'll fold her tail up. Usually like that to protect them eggs. I'm going to put her back to ensure there's plenty of yabbies for the future. Last time I checked this net, a yabby just took off from the edge of the net. Remember, I just missed it. Let's see if he's come back for his dessert. Oh, yes! Would you believe the very same thing just happened? As I pulled the net up, he was sitting on the edge of the net and he flicked out, but I managed to actually catch him with the net as I was pulling it in, so he was sort of caught in mid-air pretty much. What's that, 7 or 8 or something I've got now? Haven't got a huge amount, but I've got enough for a bit of a feed. It'll just give me the taste, so I know to come out again next week or something. They're just ticking over just nicely. Nothing red hot, just getting a few. Loving it, having a blast. That's a couple more. 2 more nice ones. You can actually see them in the net there. A sort of a lighter coloured one and a nice dark one. Remember earlier I said I reckon they'd be nice and dark in here? He's got a little bit of a soft shell, that might be why he's light. Where'd he go? He's already escaped, he's on his way back to the water. They're not real big yabbies. That's not huge. I've caught them much, much bigger. But they're not bad for an eating size yabby. It's actually a good Murray cod bait, that one, when the season opens in a couple of months. The biggest yabbies I ever caught were at Lake Urana out in New South Wales. A lot of them are 80mm from their eye to their tail, which at the time was the legal size for a crayfish in New South Wales. Not sure what the legal size is now. They were like this. They were the biggest yabbies I've ever seen. We do get big ones like that down here sometimes, but not a lot. These are not big yabbies, but they're not a bad eating size either. Thanks for watching my yabbying video. I'd like to keep filming, but the camera battery is saying no. It's gone red and it's flashing. I think it's about to stop at any second. I hope you enjoyed my yabbying video. I hope you learned a couple of tips. If you didn't, well then I hope you got a laugh. If you didn't, well then I hope you just didn't waste your bandwidth by watching it. But anyway, yabbying is something, this takes me back to when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. I used to do this after school, on school holidays, before school early in the mornings. I was a keen kid. And now at 40 or 39 years of age, I'm 40 next July, I still don't tire of it, and I reckon when I'm 80 I'll still be doing it. It's just starting to warm up now. The yabbies are getting active and they'll stay that way until about March or April, until we start getting the cooler nights. Only last week we had frost in this area, so the water's still quite cool. And that perhaps may have something to do with the fact that they're a little slow. If I was going out again tomorrow, which I'm not, unfortunately, I've got to work, but if I was going out, I would probably look for a dam on a hillside somewhere. I'm just wondering whether maybe, being that I am in a bit of a red gum forest, means I am down at a lower altitude in a bit of a dip and cold air sinks. Up on a hillside they may not have been as frosty and they'll still get the afternoon sun. So if I was going out tomorrow I'd be looking for a dam without too many trees around it to soak up the sun, at a just slightly elevated area up in the side of a hill or something, and nice and big. And I reckon that just might be the ticket to getting a few more yabbies. It's all speculation, it might not happen, but that's what I'd be doing if I was going out tomorrow. And it's giving these swampy sort of areas a few more weeks to warm up. But it's 26 today, it's going to be 29 tomorrow, and they are starting to move, so things can only get better in the world of the Cherax Destructor. For those that don't know what the Cherax Destructor is, it's a car they made in Germany back in 1928. They called it a Cherax, and it was indestructible and it would destruct everything in its path. And if you believe that, you'll believe anything. A Cherax Destructor is the scientific name for a yabby, a freshwater yabby. They've got the Marin over in Western Australia. I think they're a Cherax abdibus or something very similar. But yeah, these are a Cherax Destructor. Happy days. Thanks for watching.